next guest has given birth to so many highly successful television families that we all know and love, including the Waltons, the battling Channings and Giobertis from Falcon, Crest, and this upcoming season we're going to see the Sawyers in the new NBC series Boone. Here is Earl Hamner, and you'll recognize his voice as the guy who speaks at the end of every Waltons episode.
My favorite part of the show.
I wish I had just one written down that you could read for us. Well, quick.
I'll make one up at the end of the show.
All righty.
Okay.
One quick good night, Bill Boy, and I'll be happy.
All right.
Now, the new show, Boone, takes place in Nashville.
Mm-hmm. It's a story of a boy, 17-year-old boy, whose father wants him to become an automobile mechanic. His mother wants him to be a preacher, but he wants to be a country singer and drive a purple Cadillac and live in hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm. Where's your home originally?
My home is, actually I put my home on the map. It was a small town in Virginia called Schuyler, and it's about 24 miles from Charlottesville. And
so it's almost like where the Waltons took place.
It was where the Waltons took place.
That was your story?
Yes, yes. Yeah. I'm John Boy as a very old man.
But you're a country music fan, too, and that's part of the reason why this new show, right?
Absolutely. I was talking with one of the executives at NBC who said, is there anything on that's not on television that you'd like to see there? And I said, I've always loved country music, and he said, so did he. And so we went to work and devised this new series, which will have a lot of country music in it, and it takes the place of a Little House on the Prairie on Monday nights, and I have great hopes for it and great love for the show. I think country music is something everybody loves, and to me it's always been a kind of poetry of the common people, you know, blue-collar people. It says what they think about, what they worry about, their loves and disappointments, and I think it's a very universal kind of expression.
Well, it's been around for so long, and I mean, no sign of it ever fading away either.
Well, I hope that'll be true of the series, too.
One of the Waltons characters is one of the leads in the show.
Yes, Corabeth Godsey, who is in real life a charming woman named Ronnie Claire Edwards, plays a lady who runs a bar. And it's a totally different characterization from what we saw her do in the Waltons.
That's what she said to us when she was here. She says that she, to this day, of course, because the Waltons runs everywhere, but she says she'll be on an escalator going up somewhere, and somebody will be coming down, and they'll yell at her, Cora Beth, we hate you. She said, at least now, hopefully she can turn it around a little bit. She's a funny lady.
She gave me one of the funniest moments that I think we ever had on the series. She was a spinster lady, getting along in years, had no opportunities for marriage, and she came to visit the Waltons, and Ike Godsey, the bachelor storekeeper, and a kind of dull guy, sweet man, but not all that exciting, took her out on a date, and then she came home at the end of the evening and she looked very down, and Olivia Walton said, Corabeth, what's the matter? And Corabeth went running up the stairs saying, Ike Godsey asked me to marry him, and I said, yes!
That ran 3 weeks ago on Channel 11.
Did it?
It was
a lovely
So they get married at the end of the show, too.
Yes, yes.
A whirlwind romance.
Absolutely.
Why did you have her always call him Mr. Godsey?
It seemed to go with the character. She was a little bit prissy. She was airy. She wanted better things than they had on Walton's Mountain. She aspired to gentility, and she was stuck with that backwater, she used to call it. She was one of my favorite characters, but all of them were my favorite characters. I loved Richard Thomas and Will Geer and Ellen Corby and Michael Learned and Ralph Waite and all those wonderful children.
Which we've had, as we said, Mary McDonough, Erin. Is going to be with us again next week. She's been with us a couple different times.
I remember her when she was a clunky little girl. Now she's grown into the swan.
She's got a great new hairstyle too.
I haven't seen it. Will you give her my love?
Oh, I will. I promise. I promise. It's so odd to see a nice family kind of thing like the Waltons, created by you, and then you do Falcon Crest.
Yeah.
It's a complete turnaround, the other side of Earl Hamner.
You know, I don't find it that much of a turnaround, and maybe I'm defensive about this because people say, how can you do a nice, sweet family like the Waltons and then go to those mean, manipulative people in the Tuscany Valley? But part of the secret of the success, I think, of that show is that the Gioberti family, the Bob Foxworth, Susan Sullivan characters, are really Waltons. They believe in family life, and if you've watched the series, you'll notice that there's never been any infidelity on their part. They've always been good parents. They believe in the sturdy, old-fashioned values. So that family is as close as I can get to present-day Waltons. And even Angie Channing herself, the matriarch who rules that area, is rooted in a Walton kind of value. I based her on a man I knew down in New Orleans who owned a plantation, and he preserved this plantation as a historical site to donate to the state of Louisiana on the basis that this kind of place would disappear someday. The country would soon be covered with fast food chains and concrete. And so I thought of Angie Channing as preserving this very graceful way of life, which again is a kind of Walton value. So I don't feel like I've gone too far from the Waltons, although at time when there are discussions of Falcon Crest, people in the room will say, Earl has to leave now because he's a Walton.
Well, now here comes the dirt, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you oversee the writing?
Yes, in the mornings I go to CBS, and I am a Falcon, and the afternoons I go to Burbank, and I'm a Boone. So I'm a kind of split personality.
Yeah, you got your hands full, though.
Yeah, and I do a lot of reading at night, and then I usually take the weekends off. But I find it very adventuresome to do these shows, to get them on the air. It's sort of instant theater. It's like a repertory company that you go on the air.
To make them a hit, as they've been.
Yes, well, that's magic, and that's fun, you know.
Now, Boone will be shooting part in Nashville. Right now, most of the shooting has been done in Nashville, right?
We shot the pilot in Nashville, and I fell in love with Nashville. They are the most hospitable, lovely people, and they feed you to death, they hug you to death, they love you to death, and they sing you to death. The music is just grand. And I wish that we could shoot the whole thing down there, but that isn't economically practical. But it's a wonderful state to shoot in. And I think the highlight of being in Nashville was that the governor gave a reception for our company. And when we came to the governor's mansion, I saw Minnie Pearl across the crowded floor. And having been a fan of hers for many years, I found out that she also liked the Waltons. I went over and said, Minnie, I've loved you for years, and I never expected to meet you. And she said, well, honey, that's what I was going to say to you. That meant a lot to me.
Yeah. Is there something down the line where you'd like to do her story?
She said she'd love to be on the show, and she said, why don't you write me in as a mean old waitress? And I said, Lord, no, I'll write a show around you. So I'm hoping that can happen.
Well, that'd be terrific.
Yeah.
Well, for all of us Walton fans, are there going to be any reunions?
I think, you know, after the series ended, we did do 3 specials, and I am hoping that over the years we'll be able to get the clan back together and do holiday specials all down. I just like to keep on doing them. That was such fun, and I think the audience all around the country loved it so much.
Oh, for sure. For sure. What about Ellen Corby? How's she doing?
I saw Ellen a couple of weeks ago. She had an operation, and after all the adversity that Ellen has had, nothing gets her down. I think that she's one of the bravest and most admirable people I've ever known, because she's had a lot of bad luck, but yet if she were given a role right now on television, even though she can't speak very clearly, she would pantomime it and she would break your heart.
She did it with the Waltons. She made that comeback.
Yes, she did.
And,
yes.
It was just amazing.
And
you had to give her so much credit.
Yes, she is an enduring actress and a darling and lovely woman.
Well, we'll look for Boone this fall on NBC.
Please do.
Okay?
Please
and
do.
I'll be watching those Walton reruns.
Thank you.
And of course, there's Falcon Crest. You know? Earl's a busy guy. I'm going to do one quick sign off for us?
Oh, well,
Gonna make
let's see.
one
When I was growing up in the hills of Virginia, I had no idea I'd end up here on your show.
And here we are. Good night, Earl Bob.
Thank you, Bill Boyd.
Okay. We'll be back with